Writing prompt. Humans are one of, if not the only, species in the galaxy who can heal their wounds naturally. Your alien friend is learning this for the first time after they accidentally hurt you. Original prompt by Arcos_the_dragon. Response story written by The Writing Sniper. Liam winced as the blade that had scraped his hand landed on the floor. "Ah, god damn it," he said as the blade bounced on the ground and slid to a halt in front of Vixati. Her eyes melted at the sight of the blood and she shrieked,
"Liam! By the gods, what are we going to do?"
She grabbed his hand and squeezed it tightly.
"We don't have any sealant on this blasted ship, do we?"
"Sealant?" Liam looked down at his hands, watching the red blood drip around V's green-blue fingers. "Why would I need your sealant?"
"You are wounded."
She shook her head.
"My foolish hands wounded you, and it will surely have detrimental effects on you until we can properly seal the wound."
She continued shaking, whispering to herself in her native language that Liam's translator didn't even understand. So much for the best money had to buy. He smiled, though, and placed his free hand on her arm. "V, I'm fine. Just hand me that towel."
"But the towel?
Two of her 4 eyes closed as the other 2 widened, her species' way of showing confusion and lack of understanding.
What good will a towel do with all this blood?"
"Mostly soak it up so it doesn't get on the food, firstly," Liam said and reached over to the countertop with little concern for his bleeding hand. He was about to put it on, but then he saw her hands were still clutched to his. V, can you...
"What are you going to do?"
"Just wrap it."
"What good will that do? You need proper sealant, Liam. I will have Erixati get it for you,"
she said and lifted one hand towards the countertop. Liam stopped her. "You're gonna get blood in the food."
"Better than letting go."
"Yeah, but the rest of the ship wants food, and I'm not messing up my first week on this cruiser here," he said. Then, "V, seriously, just let me stop the bleeding." Slowly, V lifted her hand from his own. Liam placed the towel on top of it and wrapped it tightly around. "I just gotta stop the bleeding, and then I'll clean it, and I'll cover it for a few days with bandages."
"Bandages?"
She watched him wrap the small towel around his hands, slowly and methodically. He wrapped it tight, and she watched the blood stop pouring from him.
"How did I—"
"Does your species use that sealant stuff, even for cuts and scrapes?"
"Of course."
She took a step back, almost offended.
"How else would we heal our wounds? They would bleed us dry."
Liam whistled and shook his head. Humans, we can, heal them naturally."
"I'm sorry?"
she said, all 4 of her eyes opened. They turned a light topaz color. Liam had always been fascinated by that, the fact that their eyes changed color based on their mood. "Yeah, as long as we stop the bleeding first, just let it clot naturally, then they heal. We get scars," he said and pointed to a scar on his arm, one he had received when he fell off his hoverbike as a kid. "Otherwise, only life-threatening wounds. Plasma burns, gunshots, that sort of stuff. That requires some sort of sealant. Though we don't have exactly that on our planet."
"So you just leave your wounds open?"
V asked.
"For all the world to see?"
"I mean, sure." Liam shrugged and went over to the sink. He guided V over as well and allowed her to clean her hands of his blood. "It's not really letting the world see them. They're just cuts."
"I am taken aback."
"I can tell."
"You can?"
He looked back at her with a smirk. "Your eyes, they change. Light topaz, that means you're curious of things you don't understand." She smiled, her eyes changing color once more to a light pink. "And pink, embarrassment. Similar to us, only our faces get flushed."
"I am consistently surprised by you humans,"
she said and went back to the food. "Yeah," he said and turned. "And a word of advice. A falling knife has no handle." She tilted her head.
"But yes, it does."
He He stopped and pulled his hand out of the sink, grabbing some towels next to him to pat it dry and wrap it once more. I'll lean you into human idioms eventually. I'm Nathaniel Clark, and this was r/writing prompts narrated. If you enjoyed, I hope you'll join us again next time.